Welcome. Guys, we have a question from one of our students that wants to know how you can build rapport with a larger crowd, or just a crowd in general, I suppose, because we talk a lot about building rapport with individuals, but how, Mike, from your freaking decades of experience in wizard behavior, how do you build rapport when you're on stage?
Okay, that's a great question.
In a crowd?
Great question. First of all, it's back to how long is a piece of string. What are we calling a crowd? I've given examples before. If I was in a boardroom attempting to get a gig with someone as their speaker, I'm going to build rapport with the dominant person in the room, with the strongest person in the room, because he's the one who's going to, or at least with the decision maker. That's the most important thing. But when we're talking about from a stage setting or a platform where there's 100 or, in my own case, up to 6,000 people in the audience, you've got to find a way to reach the people in the back as well. And in theater, you'll see that someone who's a balcony player is someone who can still connect with the people at the back of the theater. And you do that by being larger than life. It's not the typical rapport skills because you're dealing with individuals, a lot of individuals. The key with that is the usual format of the Mandel Triangle. You hit the stage with congruence, your words are matching your body language, your internal state, you're confident in your abilities, and your intention is to wow them. Intention is everything, the conviction behind what you're doing. The application of the Mandel Triangle, and having come across this by accident many years ago, will cause you to be a much more effective presenter to any size group. And when people see you as interesting, when they see you as congruent, you will automatically have the rapport with them. That'll be the secondary effect from it.
I'm thinking also in terms of the context, right? So if you're there as entertainment, then obviously the intention is to entertain them. So if they're there to be entertained, make sure you're entertaining. If you're, let's say the opposite of that might be, though, giving like a technical presentation at a conference or something like that. Well, the same thing applies, though, where they've come to get some sort of information, so make sure you deliver the information, but you can still use humor. You can still do all of the things that make people have a good time while they're learning, right?
You've got to be energetic as well. You know, I did a total rapport breaking move once, which was a humor thing. When I used to do experts, I used to go to an organization, pretend to be an expert in their field, and they'd never heard of me. This is pre-internet, so they couldn't check anything. And I used to carry a replica Beretta inside my pocket of my sports jacket. And I'd be teaching and presenting. It was getting weirder and weirder. And I would pull a gun out and say, okay, things are going to take an odd turn, an interesting turn now. And I'd rack it, and I'd hold it in my hand as I was presenting. And as I made a point, I would bang it on the podium like this with my finger on the trigger, and he would discover this, and everybody in the front couple of rows.
That would be a rapport killer.
But it sure got their attention.
All right, so.
But that was a comedy act, so that's different.
That's helpful. So that is how you can build rapport from the stage, or when presenting in a group. Just make sure you're doing your best to include more people. Use the Mandel Triangle.
Definitely.
Use humor, as always. Use appropriate humor, obviously.
Of course, and they were hiring me to do a comedy act, so only the big boss knew. Now realize as well, the opposite end of it we've all seen. When PowerPoint first came out, the grueling things that people did, put the screen up and have the slides coming in, and would stand there holding the remote and read everything out loud in the PowerPoint. I mean, that was their presentation.
Man.
It was dead and boring and dull. Be the opposite of that.
All right. That is our advice, Mike's advice, on how to build rapport with audiences. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want to learn more about hypnosis, self-improvement, all kinds of stuff, go to MikeMandelHypnosis.com, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again, and good night.